It did not begin on February 28th. It began in 2001 when then Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon issued a directive to Mossad Chief Meir Dagan instructing him to make Iran the intelligence service's primary target above all others. What followed was 25 years of systematic, patient, layered intelligence collection that culminated on a Saturday morning near Pasteur Street in central Tehran in one of the most consequential targeted killing operations in modern history. The foundation of the operation was access. Israeli intelligence, primarily Mossad and the IDF's Unit 8200, Israel's elite signals intelligence division, gained covert access to Tehran's traffic camera network years before the February 28th strikes. According to the Financial Times investigation, which cited multiple current and former Israeli intelligence officials, as well as sources directly familiar with the operation, nearly all of Tehran's surveillance cameras had been compromised. Encrypted video feeds were transmitted in real time to servers in Tel Aviv and southern Israel, where they were processed, stored and fed into an intelligence architecture that was watching Iran's leadership around the clock without Tehran knowing it was being watched at all. One Israeli intelligence official described the depth of that access to the Financial Times, saying that long before the bombs fell, the service knew Tehran like the street it grew up on. What Israel was looking for was not buildings, it was people, specifically the bodyguards, drivers and security personnel assigned to Iran's senior officials. One particular camera angle proved especially useful, providing an unusually clear view into part of the tightly guarded leadership compound near Pasteur Street, the block in central Tehran where the offices of the Supreme Leader, the Iranian presidency and the National Security Council are all located. By studying where security personnel parked their personal vehicles, when they arrived, which routes they drove and which officials they escorted, Israeli analysts built what intelligence officers formally call a pattern of life. Files on members of Khamenei's security detail reportedly included home addresses, shift timings and regular travel routes, detailed enough to predict a specific individual's movements on any given day with a high degree of confidence. The sheer volume of data generated by this surveillance operation could not be processed manually. That is where artificial intelligence became the operational center of the campaign. Unit 8200 combined the encrypted camera feeds with signals intelligence from intercepted mobile and radio communications, human intelligence from Mossad's recruited sources inside Iran, and social network analysis, a mathematical method that maps the relationships between individuals to identify key decision makers, power structures, and operational vulnerabilities. Israeli officials confirmed that billions of data points were examined through this system. The result, as CNN and multiple intelligence officials described it, was a target production machine, a highly automated system that could track a protected individual's movements, confirm their presence at a location, and authorize a strike with a level of precision that would have been impossible through manual intelligence work alone. The capability had already been used operationally. During the 12-day Iran-Israel conflict in June 2025, the same intelligence infrastructure supported opening strikes that killed the IRGC commander Mohammad Pakpour, who oversaw Iran's missile and drone operations and directed support for Iranian proxy forces, and Ali Shamkhani, a veteran commander who had previously led the IRGC's naval forces and served as a senior advisor to Khamenei. Israel had attempted to kill Shamkhani during the June 2025 war and initially believed he had died. He survived that strike. He did not survive February 28th. The June 2025 operation was the proof of concept. The February 28th operation was the full deployment. Khamenei had long been considered the most operationally difficult target in the region. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz acknowledged publicly that Israel did not attempt to kill Khamenei during the June 2025 war because he had sheltered in underground bunkers and gone completely silent, cutting off his communications and making him impossible to locate with confidence. Unlike Hassan Nasrallah, who spent years in permanent concealment before being killed in Beirut in 2024, Khamenei was not always underground. He maintained a visible public presence, continued attending meetings, and had previously spoken about the possibility of his own assassination in a notably dismissive way. Intelligence agencies assessed that once open war formally began, Iranian leaders would immediately disperse to hardened underground facilities that would be far harder to penetrate. The window to act was before that dispersal happened. The intelligence picture began converging in the days immediately before February 28th. Unit 8200 detected preparations for a high-level leadership meeting scheduled for Saturday morning at the compound near Pasteur Street. The CIA, which had a human source on the ground, no further details of that source have been made public, provided confirmation that the meeting was proceeding as planned and that senior Iranian national security and military officials were converging on the same location at the same time. Two people familiar with the operation told the Financial Times that this level of human source confirmation was a specific requirement before proceeding with a target of Khamenei's magnitude. The standard for certainty was higher than for any previous operation. The CIA's confirmation met that standard. The strike had originally been planned for nighttime, consistent with the conventional model of modern air campaigns. The confirmed meeting intelligence changed that calculation entirely. Intelligence assessments warned that once open hostilities formally began, Iranian leaders would move underground within hours. The window in which Khamenei would be above ground and at a confirmed location was Saturday morning. Launching at night would mean waiting, and waiting meant Khamenei would be unreachable for the duration of the war. Operating in daylight, exploiting the assumption that a major strike would come at night, and catching the compound in a moment of relative complacency was judged to be the operationally correct decision. Officials also noted that the Sparrow missiles used in the strike were designed to hit extremely small targets from distances exceeding 1,000 kilometers, well beyond the effective range of Iranian air defense systems, making the daylight timing a viable tactical option. On Friday afternoon at 3:38 p.m. Eastern Time, Trump authorized the operation from Air Force One while traveling to Corpus Christi, Texas. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, confirmed the exact authorization message publicly in a press briefing on Monday. Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck. Israeli fighter jets took off from their bases on Saturday morning carrying Sparrow missiles. Approximately 2 hours and 5 minutes after takeoff, at around 9:40 a.m. Tehran time, 30 precision-guided Sparrow missiles struck the compound near Pasteur Street. Khamenei was inside. Senior Iranian national security and military officials, including Shamkhani and Pakpour, were killed in the opening strike wave. Iran's state broadcaster announced what it described as the martyrdom of the supreme leader at approximately 2 a.m. on Sunday, March 1st. Trump confirmed it on social media shortly afterward. One confirmed pre-strike measure is particularly significant and reveals the operational sophistication of the final execution. Israeli intelligence disrupted components of mobile phone towers near Pasteur Street immediately before the missiles arrived. The disruption caused phones in the area to appear busy when called, preventing Khamenei's protection detail from receiving any warning that might have prompted an immediate evacuation to a bunker. An Israeli intelligence official summed it up in 4 words to the Financial Times: "We took their eyes first." The cellular disruption was not a side effect. It was a deliberate, timed element of the operation designed to close the one remaining gap. The possibility that Iran's air defense radar would detect the incoming missile trajectory batteries with enough lead time for the security detail to move Khamenei underground before impact. The CIA's role in the operation is confirmed but has been carefully framed in official statements. Secretary of State Rubio told Congress that the United States was not independently targeting Iranian leadership as a primary objective. That is technically accurate. The CIA tracked Khamenei for months, provided the human source confirmation of the Saturday morning meeting, and passed that intelligence to Israeli counterparts, directly accelerating the decision to move the timeline and launch. Whether that constitutes targeting or enabling is the legal and semantic question that Congress is now pressing the administration to answer clearly. Republican Representative Mike Turner of the House Intelligence Committee told CBS that the combined US-Israeli intelligence capabilities demonstrated that the two nations have capabilities no other nation on earth possesses. He did not dispute the CIA's role in the sequence of events. The deeper significance of this operation extends well beyond Iran. Tehran's traffic camera network, installed by the Iranian state to identify, track and arrest protesters and regime opponents, was compromised and turned against the very leadership it was built to protect. The cameras Iran used to surveil its own population were used to kill its supreme leader. Every government in the world that relies on urban surveillance infrastructure now has a confirmed and publicly documented example of that infrastructure being penetrated and weaponized from the outside. The operational irony is exact, and its implications for every nation's domestic surveillance architecture are permanent.